in putting up research proposal. Okay. So the topic, as you can see, is on research proposals and how to write these research proposals and how to get funding. Always my contention is that for doing research, if you money should not be a big problem. You see, because if you have got ideas, you can always, and if you know where to hunt for funds, you can always find something somewhere, you see, So I will go along with some of the, funding agencies just to introduce these to you, and then also give you some introduction on how to write a research proposal and what is the thing that the viewers are looking for, and how to handle all that, you see. So let me begin. Uh, a research proposal, as you can see, aims to convince the reader that your project is important, and it is based on strong academic basis, and it is well thought out in terms of its research methodology, and it is feasible. So these are common sense objectives that you must keep in mind, you see. And then you should keep two agents in mind. One is the reader, and the other one is the reviewer who is going to review your proposal, you see. So you must keep both these elements in mind, you see. And then a research proposal should answer the following questions, you see. And those are all, quite, well understood, that what will I study? Why is it important? And how will I do the research, you see? As I said, that it all belongs to methodology and its importance and its, objectives, you see. So you have to keep all these things in mind uh, before you write a proposal, you see. Please never think that you can, uh, the objective is to get funds, you see. That should not be the objective. The objective is to get funds for your ideas, you see. The idea is more important, you see, that if you have got innovative, feasible, doable idea, then, you should go for funding, you see. Before you do that, you must keep all those things in mind. Now, this is generally the research proposal template, you see. It might vary with different funding agencies, but overall, this is the whole template of a good research proposal, you see. Number one is obviously its objectives, that what is the objective of your study, and you have to give a roadmap, saying that this could analyze or study or estimate something, you see. And that has to be based on a hypothesis, you see. They state what you are planning to prove, uh, and also you must keep these hypotheses very simple, understandable, you see, so that when it is not complicated, you see. Then you should have a background and discuss the way your research problem was discussed before, and draw a larger picture, you see. Background is always important in order to enter into your actual area of interest, you see. You should highlight the significance of your proposal, that tell what your study will add to the research or to the existing knowledge, what will be new. you know there is generally we call me too research, you see. That is, that you have a paper, you have seen a paper published, and you want to duplicate that in your study, you see. So that is, we generally call it me too research, that is, it should be avoided, you see. It should not be a replication of already known phenomena or known knowledge or known experiments. Then if it's possible, you should include a theoretical framework, and that is possible in many of the social science projects as well, you see. Incidentally, I want to interrupt. You see, it is assumed that all this funding and all that is only focused towards sciences, you see, toward natural sciences. That's not the case. That's absolutely not the case, you see. The social sciences and humanities are as important as any other area, you see, and I will demonstrate that all the funding agencies also cater for social sciences as well, you see. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that, you see. So we have to describe the methodology that you will be adopting while doing the research. This methodology part is very important for the viewers also, because they would like to know whether you have the knowledge and the ability to do the work or not, you see. Then obviously the expected outcomes and then references. Your differences are also important because, I mean, if you are in 2024, if you are giving differences 10, 15 years old, then obviously it will indicate that you are not up to date with the knowledge, you see, with the literature. You see, so you must try to provide most recent publications as in your reference, in addition to the all older ones also. But the recent one will indicate to the viewer that your proposal is up to date, you see. Now, I mean, it's a bit of repetition, but the research grant giving agencies require that proposal must be on their given format, you see. That is very important. Every funding agency has its own format or its own application forms, and you must adhere to that, and you must read that very carefully, and read carefully the questions asked and respond in a precise manner. I mean, the contents of the proposal should not be verbose. By verbose, I mean that if you can convey a fact in one sentence, there is no need to write a paragraph. You see, no. So this verbosity has to be avoided at every stage while writing the proposal, while writing the results, while writing the literature review or anything. You see, you must be very concise and be very conservative on selecting the words, you see. So it should not, as I said, that a thing that can be said in a sentence should not go into a paragraph. Excuse me. Then we have a review process, you see, which includes, this is the most important part, and where the viewers, do the view of your proposal, and then on the basis of their experience or their expertise, they give you some comments which must be taken very seriously. You see, please never think that you are being targeted, or the viewer is not fair, and his comments are not according to your wishes or according to your thinking. So, but anyway, the viewers are important component of your proposal selection, and so you have to take them very seriously and respond to them logically. This is, please, mark my word that you have to answer them in a very logical manner, and if they have something appropriate to contribute, you should accept that. You see, you should accept that yes, this point has been left out, and you are prepared to amend the proposal accordingly. You see, or if you're very definite about your point of view, you should not hesitate to convey that in an appropriate language. You see that in your opinion or in your experience, the facts are contrary. You see, so you should do that. You see, if you are very sure. Otherwise, generally we tend to accept the viewers' comments. And if they have suggested to amend the proposal, you should do that if that is not very much against your point of view. You see, as I said, then incorporate the comments if you are convinced. You see, then project operation. You see, this is also an important component of the whole affair, and that is that you have to submit a progress report of the project in time and promptly. You see, this is very important. You see, always stick to the sanctioned budget. While preparing the budget, you should be very careful. You should imagine that how you are going to spend that money and on what purpose that is. Please avoid writing in your budget or asking for things like laptops or computer or printer or things like that. Generally the funding agencies do not. These funds are for the research projects that are already being going on. You know that the funding agency assumes that your laboratory is equipped to do the research that you are proposing. So if you are saying that you need a pH meter or you need a laptop and a printer and all that, it indicates that you are sitting in an empty room. You see, so make sure that there's a difference between a developmental project and a research project. In a developmental project, you can ask for things like this, starting from the furniture to all these things that I've mentioned. You see, so but for research project, you have to ask for those equipment which are genuinely required by your research. You see, okay. You can argue that without a laptop, you cannot function and all that. If you're prepared to explain that in detail, and if the viewer accepts that, okay, that's fine. You see, but generally, my advice is avoid, if possible, making the quest for such things. You see. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Yes, this is another very important component. Virtually all international and national funding agencies revolve around these sustainable development goals, which I'm sure all of you are aware. And if you're not aware, get yourself aware about these goals. These are 17 goals now, and which includes virtually everything that concerns us for the socio-economic development of the country, you see, So, I don't want to go into the details of all this. You should all know that. And when you write a proposal, you should mention whether asked for or not, you see. Mention that which developmental goals your project will be addressing and which is the one where you would like to contribute to its achievement, you see, So, so these are important elements, and knowledge of these sustainable development goals is important for all of you, you see. Next is the cap up of all the things that I've said. For example, I can quickly go over these: that scientific quality, innovation, novelty of research plan or proposal. The evaluation is based on these. That what is the scientific quality and what is the innovativeness and novelty. You know, you should concentrate on highlighting the novelty of your research, because that is the one based on which many papers are rejected, many proposals are rejected, that simply say there is no novelty in your research plan, you know. So you have to bring out the novelty in your research. This is very important, you see. Then relevance of the proposed research to contemporary global challenges, significance of proposed research to the national issues, contribution of expected results to social sphere, development of science and technology, potential for creation of new knowledge, potential impact on applicants' professional career, potential for acquiring skills in terms of career development, transfer of knowledge, and outside parent organization through conferences, publications, public outreach activities as a result of this fellowship, ability to create a long-term network, ranking of host institution, access to equipment and high-impact research collaborators not available in Pakistan. If not available in Pakistan, standing of host supervisor, financial favor, bench tuition fee, etc. No, these are the things which are generally, I mean, it is not only for research project, but for publications also, for everything, that the evaluation is generally based on all these parameters. Now, let me move on to the funding agencies that we have in Pakistan and abroad. And then you will find that there's a large, there are a number of agencies which are, there in Pakistan and abroad also, which fund your research ideas, you see. So at least you should know about them. So I will just cursorily, go through all these so that you should know that what is happening, you see. You see, Higher Education Commission is one of the largest funding agencies in the country. You see, funding agency for research in the country. And again, I would like to emphasize that this funding is not for natural sciences only. You see, it is as much for humanities and social sciences. You see, HEC is normally, people argue, this HEC only funds scientific research or natural sciences research. It doesn't fund social sciences. That's not actually true. As far as their mandate is concerned, they are equally mandated to support natural social sciences as well, you see, So that I will show you in a minute. You see, HEC has so many different projects which are responsible for funding the most common that you all probably know is the Natural Research Program, NRPU, that is provided to all the universities on a competitive basis. It is the competitive research grant, and this is the most common and the most widely used program, you see. In addition to these, we have the Grand Challenge Fund, which provides a larger amount, you see, and it is highly competitive. And then we have a Local Challenge Fund, which is also provides some medium level funding, and it is also very competitive. All are actually competitive grants. Innovative and Collaborative Research Grant, ICRG. And this is Technology Development Fund. If you have something already developed and you want to upscale it or to collaborate with an industry, this is the fund you should look for, Technology Development Fund. Then rapid technology transfer support fund, national research, this I've already talked about, and problem-based applied interdisciplinary research program. So there are so many these programs that your idea or your objective of your research must fit into any one of these, you see. Rapid research and innovative initiatives. The HEC provides the Rebel grants for presentation of research papers. I mean, these are, nowadays, because of the paucity of funds, I think some of these programs are slowed down, but not cancelled. But I hope that when our economy little bit revives, these will all be very functional, you see. Then we have a library support grant and Parc France Peridot research program exclusively with France. And then we have a large number of CPEC collaborative research grants for organizing seminars, conferences, textbook writing support, and ParkTurk, you see. In addition to all this, there is one which we call IRSIP. I hope there is something about it. In addition, it is all continuing now that we have a Pakistan program for collaborative research, establishment of offices of research innovation. These are ORICs, which have been established for encouraging research in all the universities, and patent filings and excellence grant, etc. In addition to all this, there is, for all PhD students who are in their second or third year of research, they are eligible to apply for a 6-month grant to work in any industrially advanced country, provided they have an acceptance letter from that professor, and the HEC will provide the travel and the living expenses and some expenses as a bench fee to the university, to the accepting university. This is a very useful program, and many of my PhD students have benefited, and many I know of our own faculty, whose students have benefited, and this is, and I hope that all of you are aware of these programs. This is a cover sheet for proposal of NRPU especially, and then that they are interested in whether it is basic or applied or community-based or commercialized or thematic, etc. And domain of proposed research, as I've said, they are equally supportive of arts and humanities, economic and social research, engineering, physical sciences, medical sciences, biotechnology, biological sciences, natural and environmental sciences, science and technology. So the whole knowledge spectrum is covered, and HEC supports all these areas, you see. So therefore you have to mention that which area your project lies, you see. And then again, the field of proposed research specialization, whether, for example, whether agriculture is your major field or soil science is the minor field, or, so this is an example only, you see. Okay. Now, let me move on to another funding agency, which is Pakistan Science Foundation. And this also supports, depending on their funding quantity, they also support all these research programs, and I mean, they also support scientific societies and all that. They have, I don't know if I mentioned it here. Uh, they also have a very interesting natural sciences linkage program. This is based on an endowment fund, which allows them with the help of the markup of that endowment, they support natural sciences projects. It's a very broad spectrum. I mean, anything related to science can be entertained, and that is based on an endowment which was provided by the USDA, and that has continued further, and that is continuing for the last 20, 24 years, I think now. And since I was, I was one of the initiator of this endowment, so I'm aware of it. So this is, the advantage is that it is not dependent on the funding from the government. You see, it is the endowment markup is available all the time, and it keeps increasing, and therefore they can fund a large number of projects under the natural sciences linkages program. You see. This is again the format of the Pakistan Science Foundation. They also similarly ask for the domain, and etc., etc. And that is their major equipment required, or possibility of commercialization, etc., etc. These are, as I mentioned earlier, every funding agency has its own forms, and you must carefully answer them, and so that your proposal can be reviewed. Another organization is Pakistan Academy of Science. This is supposed to be the apex body of all the scientists, and it also provides some grants to its fellows, you see, and its members. You see, there are about 100 fellows of this academy, and there are about 80 or so members as well. So all these community of people are eligible to apply, and then for a grant, and which is in areas of all areas, you see, related to science. You see. And here is another Ignite National Technology Fund. This is a fund established by the ICT, Information Technology Organizations, and this is based on the cess, or a tax, or some revenue is, for example, I think it is 1% of all the revenue that is generated by all these ICT companies, all Telenor, Zong, etc., etc. All these companies, Mobilink, all these companies, they have to, give some part of the revenue as a contribution to this fund, and based on that, they operate different programs and projects, and they also fund research in this particular area, you see. And for example, the National Incubation Center, which is established in LUMS, is also supported by them. It is supported by Ignite. Igniting University Innovation. So they do lots of activities related to ICT and other areas related to computer sciences and engineering use. This is another ICGB, is the International Center for Genetic Engineering and Biotechnology, established in Trieste, Italy, and they have a collaboration with Comstek. Comstek is our scientific, committee on committee on science and technology of the Islamic countries, and they all offer research grants also and the short-term fellowships. Comstack also collaborates with IFS. IFS is the International Fund for Science. It is located in Stockholm, and it also gives grants in collaboration with Comstack to the young beginners in research. You see, these are very effective and very useful grants, you see. Then we have Pakistan Council for Science and Technology. They also provide some help in research grants. They are the ones which announce the Research Productivity Award, which any of you are aware that, on certain basis, the people get Research Productivity Award, which is in terms of cash. Some I don't remember the percentage now, but this is an award which is given by the Pakistan Council for Science and Technology. Now let me go through the international funding agencies. One is the Human Frontier Science Program, and these are also funding in different areas. Research grants support innovative basic research and also on novel interdisciplinary projects. And these research grants are provided for teams of scientists from different countries who wish to combine their expertise in innovative approaches to questions that could not be answered by individual laboratories. So this is a very important organization for supporting multilateral uh, uh, projects, you see, and for this you have to have contacts and you should be aware of the things being done in other countries and in other laboratories, you see, so that it is essentially a multidisciplinary competitive research ground, you see, okay. Excuse me. Okay. Now, this is another very internationally very well known and very prestigious organization, Alexander von Humboldt Stiftung is foundation. So it is also a foundation, and they give, they support research of especially young scientists. Especially scientists who have done postdoc, and within 2 or 3 years, they are eligible to apply for Alexander von Humboldt Fellowship. And these funding programs are very prestigious and very well recognized. You see, if once you are an Alexander von Humboldt Fellow, they keep on supporting you all your career. You see, they have programs for your equipment grants. You can get a $20,000 worth of equipment every, I think, 3 or 4 years. If you apply and show that you are still continuing your research, etc., etc., they support you for getting travel grants, but you have to become a fellow first, you see, and that is extremely important. And you must, I will urge many of you, it is also not for only only natural sciences, it is all for social sciences as well, you see, so this is a very important funding agency. This is all for people who are working in biology or medical research. See, it is a very I mean, for all infectious diseases, especially the tropical diseases research. And this is a fund which is being supported by UNICEF, UNDP, and WHO. You know, another very well-known funding agency is Wellcome Trust. These are actually, I mean, these are quite highly competitive research. But once you get that, then you are in the, in that league of scientists, you see, who are well accomplished, and it is a achievement, you see, if you are able to get funding from them, you see. But you see, there is no harm in applying anywhere, you see. You might have a very good idea, and that is your opinion, that your idea is innovative and all that. You should not hesitate in expressing that and applying to all these organizations whom you think, your idea, your area, whom you think that your area is of interest, you see. This is applying for funding, starting a grant, etc., etc. These, I'm sure that my this presentation will be available to all of you, I hope. Now, the World Academy of Sciences, this is also TWAS, it is called. It is the, earlier on, it was the Third World Academy of Sciences. Now they have changed the name to the World Academy of Sciences for the advancement of science in developing countries. This is also an important organization, and it is also an honor to be TWAS fellow. And incidentally, I have tell you, I'm a fellow of Alexander von Humboldt also, and a fellow of the Third World Academy of Sciences, and a fellow of the Pakistan Academy of Sciences as well. So these are the things that once you get into research and you continue doing research, you will find so many opportunities, so many avenues. You see. Anyway, so the Third World Academy of Sciences also provides International Foundation for Science. This, as I mentioned, they had a collaboration with Comstek, but this International Foundation for Science is also a very important organization funding the young researchers, you see, who are in the beginning of their career, and therefore it is also they give a modest grant for every year, but once you get an IFS grant, you are, more acceptable for, I think, a bigger grant to all the other organizations. You see, their evaluation gives a lot of emphasis if you have been able to get an IFS grant as well. You see, these are the programs of IFS. But I will at the end of it, I will also give you all the connections, all their website addresses, etc. And all these information is available on the websites, you see. Global Environmental Facility, GEF, it is generally called. This is also very, it gives a lot of grants in the areas of environment and all other related areas, you see. And there is focus on the least developed countries. They have put a fund for least developed countries, Special Climate Change Fund, Capacity Building Initiative for Transparency, Nagoya Protocol Implementation Fund. and Adaptation Fund. These are the different funds which are managed by GEF, which is Global Environmental Facility, and these cover virtually the whole. I mean, anything that you think of is covered under these objectives. You see, this is Nagoya Natural Environment Foundation. It's a Japanese foundation, and this also provides funding to for different, I mean, environment-related projects. British Council is also another well-known council. It has got its activities had diminished in Pakistan, but over the last 2-3 years, they have again revived many of its activities, and these are also an important organization to look at while you are trying to get funds or trying to get some fellowships or scholarships. You see. ESCAPES is another organization which also gives some funding, you see. And the JICA, which is Japan International Cooperation Agency, these are basically developmental agencies also. They give bigger grants for developing your infrastructure. And if you're smart enough, you can approach them and get some huge projects, you see, from them, you see, based on your ideas, you see. Then the Sigma, the Scientific Research Honorary Society. And then the Asia Foundation is another one, which is these are all, I mean, they don't fund small grants or small projects, but they are always for a multidisciplinary, multi-laboratory, multi-organizational activities, you see. This is another one, Funding Innovative Practice Guide. And this is also an interesting organization to look at, you see. The Global Research Council is another one called for. You see, as I've been saying, that all these organizations are there, and it's up to you to explore them and to align your ideas and innovations to their objectives. You see, that is also an interesting job. You see, Canadian is CEDA. This is another. These are all developmental organizations now. International Development Fund. This is the government of UK. They keep changing their name. It was DFID earlier. I think that they've again changed the name. These are all the developmental fund. Earlier on, it was ODA, then DFID, and now again International Development Funding or something. But their addresses are there, you see. International Development Research Center, IDRC. This is also very important. You see, many of these organizations are, if you can form a consortium of your own. I mean, if you have expertise in one area, and you can form a consortium with other laboratories, and then jointly apply for grants to these organizations, there is a lot of chance of success, you see. So, I mean, these organizations are not necessarily for an individual proposals, you see. Empowering people for a sustainable future. This is Islamic Development Bank. Islamic Development Bank is loaded with money, and but again, as I said, that you have to have a very joint proposal in order to do that. You see, for example, when I was working in Faisalabad at NIPJ, I got a grant from Islamic Development Bank on developing a bio fertilizer resource center, and that I had collaborated with Bangladesh, and we had, one of the objective was that I was to establish a similar thing in Bangladesh. You see, so that was the condition. You see, so in this manner you can attract these funding agencies as well. You see, anyway. All right, this is the food effect. Together we can achieve the global goal. This is also it's it's the Norwegian organization. Well, these are around programs, Swedish SIDA. Now, these are the important links that I have enumerated here, that you should go on these and find out where your interest lies, you see. So this is a very important information. And whatever I've talked about or told you, this is all available on these websites, and it's up to you to go and visit these websites, and you will definitely find something of your interest, you see. So I thank you for your attention, and I hope that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kossar. As you were talking, I was going through all these resources and I found these really, really very helpful. Thank you so much for sharing the complete repository of resources with us. So on the screens, participants, you have the evaluation for this training session. Please respond to this question. So about participants' questions, sir, we don't have any question that requires an answer. I think everybody was really invested in looking at the resources that you were sharing. And a few of the participants asked if they would receive these slides. So yes, the slides will be shared with you, and also the recording of the session will be shared on our YouTube channel, to which we strongly suggest that you all should subscribe. We have a comment from Rafe Farrow from FCCU. He says that research in pure sciences typically does not meet most of these requirements. He's talking about the Sustainable Development Goals and are difficult to get approved. What can we do to improve chances of receiving grants for pure research? He's talking about mathematics.
See, my answer to this is that you have to keep on trying. See, for example, I can give you my example. It is never that once I apply, it will be accepted. You see, so you have to apply to different organizations, different funding agencies in order to get some funds. You see, so it's a hard job, but you have to do it. You see.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you said during your presentation that there's equality in research funding allocation to pure sciences and social sciences. So I was just thinking that, it's really not, I don't think so that it's like that. Social sciences and humanities still struggle. And again, the researchers have to really pursue hard. There's a lot of homework that is required and a lot of persistence with which they have to keep up with the current calls for proposals. So there are definitely more funds allocated to natural sciences and medical sciences and these fields. And I agree with this thought that it's hard to find research opportunities in pure sciences like mathematics, statistics. Maybe you have to then make your research interdisciplinary, because that's one way of breaking this barrier.
Absolutely, I totally agree. the pure sciences or medical sciences, they get more funds because that is more expensive, you see, I mean, whereas in social sciences, I mean, you probably may not need that kind of equipment, you see, or, it is, I mean, generally your expenditure or your things are of different kind, you see. But I think the exposure and that social scientists get, you see, is much more than the scientists, the pure science people get, you see, because of the application of social sciences, and it is understandable by common man, you see, common people, you see.
Yeah,
Whereas
absolutely.
our area is not necessarily understood by everybody, you see. So
Yeah.
these are the advantages, and I would, I mean, I think, I mean, if I had another chance, I would probably be a social scientist rather than a natural scientist. You see.
And you're gonna ace that as well. Another thing that came to my mind while I was listening to your talk, I think researchers nowadays really need to think about the national priorities, the countries that they represent. If your research idea resonates with your country's development priorities, which are set by the UN, then there is a better chance for you to kind of navigate the research proposal in a way that it resonates with the sustainable development goals as well as your national priorities. So that's a good combination. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's why, I showed the sustainable developmental goals.
Yeah.
You see. That's the thing that I invariably, whenever I teach a course or, I invariably bring that in just to show people or my students especially about these sustainable developmental goals, you see. And I urge everybody, you see, all our faculty members or, generally they should have awareness of the sustainable development goal that will help them
Absolutely.
to focus their activities on these goals, you see. And these goals are very comprehensive, you see. You think of anything and it is in there, you see. But I mean, now there's all funding agencies have a column in there that which sustainable development goal are you
Yeah.
addressing.
Yeah.
So it is important, you see.
And these goals basically they also promote a sense of interdisciplinarity in the research.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. That's totally
So
right.
thank you so much, Dr. Kausar. We don't have any pressing question for your attention, so I think we are good to close the session. Thank you so much for your
Thank you
time,
so much.
and it was an honor being a part of this valuable conversation. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
so much. Thank you so much for having me.
Good office.
Hafiz.